Welcome back to the Your Girl Yaz podcast, the podcast to listen to if you're a female entrepreneur who's ready to attract more fun, more money, success, friendships, and amazing clients into your business. Thank you so much for being here, and I hope I can add some more positivity into your day in this episode. Hello girls, welcome back to another episode on the Your Girl Yaz podcast. Also happy January. If you're watching, you're going to see I've got a beautiful guest with me. I've got Lauren. Lauren is my mindset coach. She is like an angel. Honestly, when I came across her Instagram and I was looking for a mindset coach, I was really looking for someone to help me. She just came up and I was like, oh my gosh, I love her. I'm obsessed. And I really wanted to bring her on the podcast because she has just got the loveliest soul, just the most amazing advice, like the best sort of like friend, mindset coach, everything to me. So welcome, Lauren.
I'm going to start crying. That was the nicest intro I've ever had.
I'm not done.
I'm like, I can't start crying now. Thank you so much. I am absolutely honored to be here. I've been listening to your podcast over the past few weeks, and even just working with you, I just feel like we bounce off each other and we have a very similar approach to business and life. And I'm just so excited to be here. So thank you so much.
You're so welcome, and it is so right, isn't it? Because in this space, it can be. I don't know. There's lots out there, and there's lots of different approaches to
Mm,
mindset coaching. But I just feel like me and you are very similar. We're very like just really want the best for people. And
yeah.
today we are going to do an episode for you guys, girls, whoever's listening, all around like mindset for 2025, feeling really good in yourself. But I feel like it would be good, first of all, Lauren, for you to maybe share a little bit of your story, share how you got into
Okay.
mindset coaching, and we just love hearing from you.
Amazing. Well, don't say that now because I'll be here till Friday. First things first, I am Lauren. I'm currently living back home in Cork in Ireland. I did live in Bali for 2 years, but I'll go into that in a little moment.
Wow.
But I'm a mindset and wellbeing coach. Like I said, I'm living back home in Cork. My passion really is just to help as many people as I can, just to be able to step into their power and become the person that they've always wanted to be. I work with a lot of people who often feel stuck. They might have beliefs that are holding them back, struggling with things as well, like self doubt, lack of self belief, lack of self love, all of those things. And I just help them to rewrite those stories and shift their mindset so they can have the life that they have always desired and become the person that they've always wanted to be. So I have my amazing one-to-one clients, and I'm so happy that you are in that list. And I also have my mindset membership, which is kind of more community based because I do think that's a really important aspect of this kind of work where people learn from each other so much. So just to be able to bring that community into the mindset space is just really nice. I just love the work that I do and the work that we do. I just think it's pure magic.
Yeah.
What I do find as well is I think the impact of our work goes beyond like the personal transformation, and I just find clients kind of learn not only to grow themselves, but also it's a ripple effect into their entire life. It's their relationships, it's their friendships, it's their businesses. Like, it's not just their own personal growth, it's just a ripple effect into everything that they do. I always say as well, I wear like a lot of different hats as a
Yeah.
coach. I feel like I am someone's like biggest hype queen, biggest cheerleader. I'll always be like cheering you on, have my pom poms there. And I'm also like the support system where
Yeah.
I'm a very emotional, sensitive person. So I feel like when someone gets emotional and wants that space, I am their shoulder to cry on. What I will say as well is I also challenge people when I feel like they need to be challenged,
Yeah.
because I do think that's an essential part in getting you to where you want and need to be. And I just love creating that safe space for people just to be able to open up doors that they may never have seen in the past, or just to be their truest like real selves, because I feel like when we don't have that space, it's really hard to like bring those parts of us out. So
Mhm.
yeah, I just want to be able to give people back their power and bring out the potential that maybe people don't see until they work with people like us. So yeah, that's a little bit
Honestly.
about me.
It's so amazing, and like even the little things, like earlier I had a wobble and I was just feeling a little bit sluggish. I was feeling really irritated is the word. And Lauren just brought me back to the fact that, like, yes, like I was like doing nothing all weekend, and it just agitated me, to be honest. And I was just feeling a bit like antsy today. And
Mm.
even mindset coaches need mindset coaches. Like,
Yes.
we're doing all of the work and we're helping other people, but we're not bloody perfect or robots. Like,
No.
we feel things deeply, and it's just so nice to have the person in my life that honestly just helps me see things in a different perspective. And like, it's so special, the work that you do. And honestly, I'm so grateful you're in my life and so happy. And like, you know,
Likewise.
it's so early on in our journey together, and I'm so excited to
I
sort of
know.
see what happens. And I feel like for you, it must have been quite a journey to get to this point. And it's not really a common industry to go into. Let's say I don't
Mm,
know many mindset coaches. We'll just say that. So,
same. Yeah.
how did
Yeah,
you
I
sort
know.
of come into this space and like develop into this lovely person you are?
Oh, stop that. I feel like for me, I've always been interested in like the personal growth space. I think definitely during COVID, that was my time when I was like, right, this time I'm not going to get back. Like things had closed,
Yeah.
weren't seeing my friends. I didn't lose my job, but I was out of work for that time. And I was like, okay, this is my time now to be able to focus on me and actually use it. So I did dive into all of the podcasts, the books, the TED Talks, all of that stuff. And I felt like although I was doing all of the right things, I didn't see the shift. I didn't see the transfer, the result that I was hoping for. And I think that's because I was in this space of like doing, 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 and I wasn't being, and I wasn't listening to what was actually going on. I moved to Bali. I don't even want to say I moved to Bali. I feel like I ran to Bali. I feel like
Mhm.
I kind of wanted to escape what was going on inside my head. Felt like I wasn't happy, I wasn't fulfilled. And I thought the answer to doing that was to go to the most beautiful place I could find and live in the sun and, just live that life that I had always dreamed of. And it was amazing. Like, it was definitely one of the most just such a amazing experience for me to have. I feel like my first year was very there was a lot of exploring, there was a lot of traveling, kind of meeting new people, and it was great. However,
Yeah.
I found in my second year there when I set up my business in website design and content creation, um I kind of fell into this thing of working around the clock and burning
Mhm.
myself out, kind of putting like every single person before me, kind of tying my worth as well to my goals and my level of success that I could achieve. So I feel like the second year in Bali for me was when I experienced just severe burnout. And
Mhm.
I was living in this beautiful villa. I had my pink bike outside. I was living with my like such good friends, and I looked around, like I had my business, and I remember thinking I have everything that I have ever wanted, but I have nothing to show for it in myself. And I think that was
Mhm.
a really hard realization for me to have, because I had tied my level of like fulfillment and contentment to that goal. We're always like going, 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 and we're constantly striving for the next thing. And when I had all that I had ever wanted, I was like, there's no point having all of that if I don't have the internal world to reflect that. So that's when I kind of had no choice. I was burnt out. I was really struggling with my mental health, struggling with my belief. I had no idea what I wanted to do. I felt lost. I felt stuck. I
Mhm.
also felt like I was broken and that nothing could fix me. What I now realize as well is this is something I say to all of my clients: nobody is broken. Like, nobody is this project that like needs to be fixed.
Mhm.
And that was something that I really kind of only tapped into this year, where we can constantly be looking for things to improve on or change or get better at and da da da. But if we can't sit with ourselves and be happy with who we are exactly as we are, there's no point.
Mhm.
Um I feel like I'm going off on a little tangent
No.
here, but I did have a mindset coach in the past. Now I do feel like it was quite structured, and it was very, this week we're going to work on X, Y, and Z, and da da da. And I feel like it didn't give me the space that I needed to sit with things and express things and deal with things as they came in. So I feel like my perspective on mindset coaching was very like tainted by that. However, when I
Mhm.
came home from Bali last year, I was like, okay, Lauren, this is it. Like, you need to figure stuff out. I started a diploma in personal and business coaching in September of last year. I did it more so for me, like just for myself to learn a little bit more about how we work and our minds and our brains. And as part of the course, we had to do pro bono coaching calls with some of the people in the course and then external people outside of the course. And I did my first coaching call as a coach, and I was like, oh my God, this is it. Like, this is exactly what I'm supposed to do. It was just a feeling that I had never had. I don't think I've ever had that, like, sense of purpose. And
Mhm.
just to have that after that one call, I was like, oh my God, this is it. But I don't know if you're the same, but for me at the
Mhm.
start, I was like, can I make a job out of this? Is this something that's done? You know, can I actually have like income from this? Like, where do I find clients? Like, there was all this confusion because, like you said there, it's not a normal role.
Yeah.
But I also loved that. I was like, this is exciting, this is something new. I love doing things that are like outside of like the matrix and outside of like the
Yeah.
norm. So I kind of saw it as a little challenge, and because I had my business in website design, I just completely transitioned, and I was like, I don't want to be creating websites till my grave. Like, it doesn't light me up. It doesn't give
Mhm.
me purpose. I used to wake up every single day just with that sense of dread. And I was like, this is not what life is for. So I transitioned my business earlier on this year and finished my diploma in May. I actually started with my first client 2 days after I finished. And since then, it's just been an absolute dream. Like, of course there's like ups and downs and like the natural thing that comes with, running your own business and working for it yourself, but the highs outweigh the lows like tenfold. It's actually
Mhm.
just insane. I ran a couple of retreats this year as well, which I love, and I know this is something you do a lot as well. I think I love it so much because it just brings that more community aspect in, and I think after COVID, people were definitely craving more in-person things. Like, we're humans, we need interaction, we need people. So I love the like mixture of my one-to-one online and then my events and stuff outside of that. But yeah, it's been a whirlwind, but I love it. I'm like, I know there's so much more to come, and I know that like there's so many more highs and lows and challenges, but it just excites me. I'm like, this is it. We're
Honestly,
living.
honestly, like I can relate so much to everything you're saying, and like, that feeling. I was the same when I was like doing this online course, and I was like the first sort of time I spoke to someone, and I was like, what the hell? Like, this is it. Like,
Yeah,
yeah, it's so
it's
similar.
insane.
And it
It's
is crazy,
insane.
isn't it? Like when like moving to Bali on your own, like, that's really scary. And for you to just like have done that, and you started a business there, and it's funny how you go on that path, and it's all like sort of
Mm,
leading to that moment, isn't it? Like, you probably
it's
learned so
mental.
much with your website business and like everything with social media there to get you to this point, and it's like absolutely so exciting. So I feel like it's so nice for you to share sort of the ups, the downs, like the different parts of your journey. How do you feel like going into next year, like everything you've learned so far is sort of
Mm.
driving you forward? Sorry, going into
Do you know,
2025.
I think the biggest thing for me is just to trust myself more and back myself more. I actually made a reel on this a couple of weeks back, but I wrote in my journal in 2019 that I wanted to do a mindset coaching course. And I didn't. Like, that was 2019, and I avoided it until 2023. Now I know that's still not like a really long time, but I knew back in 2019 that this is the path I wanted to go down, but I think I had so much fear attached to that because it wasn't the norm. And had I just like trusted myself that little bit more and backed myself, I do feel like, I would have maybe gone for it then. However, in saying that, I do believe that I was meant to go on the path that I was meant to go on. And I feel like I've learned so much about myself, about the way people work, about different lifestyles. And I do feel like the last 4 years have really helped me in becoming the coach that I am now. But I do feel like coming into next year, or sorry, coming into 2025, it is just to listen to myself more, like listen to my gut, trust myself,
Mhm.
and move from that sense of intention, you know. And I think working with you, and I know I'm coaching you, but you have
Yeah.
taught me so much on this too. Like literally just like, I know there's so much strategy and systems and
Yeah.
frameworks that we can use in the way that we work, but there's also your gut. There's also
Mhm.
listening to what feels right and moving from that. And I think I used to make decisions and make choices and move from such a place of fear before. And 2025 for me, I just want to move with my heart, and I just want to
Yeah.
do things that feel right to you. Um, I'm interested
Oh.
on you though. I want to hear what you're bringing into 2025.
That's so lovely. Honestly, guys, I have had a bit of a day of it today. So, like, just hearing that, oh, my necklace is even all over the place. Hearing that was so lovely. And I just couldn't stop smiling at the start of this episode because it's like, this space is so beautiful, and I already feel so much better in myself just being on this podcast episode, being with Lauren,
Mm,
having this time to be present and having this space to have conversations like this, because I feel like it can feel in the coaching industry very like I'm the best, or I'm the best mindset
mm.
coach, or this or that. Whereas me and Lauren are just chilling, like proper just living in each other's vibes, and that's the best way to describe it, and just
It's so
proper
nice.
uplifting and really want all of us to win. And I would really agree with that in 2025, that like this year I have had proper tunnel vision, because there is so many different ways of running a business. There's so many, like, and I think with AI coming in, all of these things that are
Mm,
pumping everyone to produce more content, more information, more, it's like driving everyone away a little bit from what's important, because we're so focused on more. I need more of this, more money, more
yeah.
clients. It's actually like, well, what do you want? Like, you don't have to
Mm,
go live in Thailand and live this crazy extravagant like life if that's not what you want. If you are someone that wants to, I'm quite a quiet person deep down. Like, I love being loud, I love being out there, but there's such a deep side of me that just loves being in the mountains on my own, like with a coffee
yeah.
flask in my, like, just dirty clothes with my crazy hair and not caring. So it's like, what actually fills up your cup, and what version of you do you want to be in 2025? And
Mm,
like really getting clear on that, I think is really good. For me personally, I next year is about really being open, like really being open to new experiences again. And 2024 for me has been a bit of a building year. Like, I was really focused on like living at home, spending time with friends and family, saying yes. I like lived it up. Whereas 2025, I feel like I know parts of me I'm always going to be learning and growing, and Lauren knows that so well. But I definitely think like the big thing is just, like you say, listening to what feels good. Like, I want to do my meditation teacher training, I'm hosting a retreat, and I just maybe want to go a bit deeper in my spiritual journey and go a bit deeper, like
mm,
inwards. And I do find when I'm out of England, when I'm in different environments, it opens up different portals for me of like, just I think differently, I have new experiences, and I definitely feel like I thrive when I'm open and when I'm in new experiences. And we were saying that's why I was struggling at the weekend, because I was just like in at home in a box, and
mm,
like I thrive off being outdoors, being in new environments. So like asking yourself, where do I thrive? Because I guarantee you'll have moments in your life where you're like, I was feeling incredible in that point, and it's not about chasing it. I feel like it's really about like finding those moments. And I think we limit how many of those we can have in life, where you could
yeah.
be living every week, every day with some pockets of those moments. Do you feel like you could relate?
I love that. That is so special. That is so nice. I think it's so right as well. Like for me, if I'm feeling stuck or if I don't
Yeah.
know where I want to go, or like all of these things, I reflect back to those times when I felt joy, when I felt content, when I felt like my cup was full. And it's not like you said there, it's not about chasing that or going back to that, but look at what you were doing in that time. Like what made you feel that way? What things were you doing? Who were you surrounded by? Where were you living? And try and bring more of that into where you are now. And I think as well, something to note about this time of year in 2025 and social media can be quite loud, and there's a lot
Yeah.
of like goal setting things and vision boards and all of these things that can be really, really loud, and they are all great. But I would say as well, try and quiet in that external noise, try and quiet in, like, reduce down your social media consumption, quiet in everything that's going on, everything that you should be doing this time of year, and just sit with yourself and ask, how do I want to feel at the end of this year? Who do I want to be? Like, what experiences do I want to have? And really just tune into what feels right for you and move from that, rather than falling into everything that you should be doing. And
Yeah.
I definitely was so bad for this before, was I fell into like trends or doing things because that's what this person was doing, or this is what I should be doing, and da da da. And it's a really slippery slope when you start doing that, because it doesn't, you know, don't really see the impact of it for some time. But I feel like even for me, like when I was living in Bali, as amazing Bali was, I do feel like I got very used to running, and I
Yeah.
learned how to escape. So if I wasn't feeling great in Bali, I would book my next flight to Thailand. If I wasn't feeling great in Thailand, I would book a flight out. Like, it was just constantly running from that. And so I think we can get really used to, you know, doing all these things that we should be doing, or traveling more and doing all these things. But it's like sitting down and actually thinking, well,
Yeah.
what do I really want? And listen to like your inner compass and move from that, instead of following the path that may be laid out for you by society or by parents or by what is expected of you. Just do whatever you want to do.
Yeah, that was so powerful. And I feel like the topic of running is not talked about
Mm.
enough. Like asking yourself, what do you feel like you're running from? It's probably one of the hardest questions, but I feel like we all
Don't ask me that.
get we all get lost in running. Like I could really relate. Like this 2024, I was only home for 3 months. I was having the worst time, like mentally. I booked a flight on a credit card. Like I didn't have any money. And I was like, I only just got this credit card. I didn't even know if it worked. I was like, my fate is decided whether this goes through or not. Like, I don't care. I'm going to Thailand if it works, and if it doesn't, then I'm not going. It worked. It went through, and I was like, shit. Like, I've got no money right now. I'm not in a good place, and I've just booked a flight to Thailand that leaves in 2 weeks. And like, what are you
That is
doing?
mental.
And
That is
then
the most you story ever.
but it taught me a lot of like, one, don't make decisions when your emotions are really heightened
Mm.
because it
Yeah,
doesn't always
that's
work
it.
out great. Sometimes you have to sit through it and feel through it. And two, like, I had to get really honest with myself. What are you running from? And it was the fact that there was parts of me that I was really unhappy in. Like I was really unhappy in my situation, and I wanted things to be different. I wanted all the clients. I wanted like this life in the sun, and I was so used to living abroad and like the sun and happiness and good vibes and sunrises, and being in the UK and in my old environment was so triggering for me. And like,
Yeah.
I was just felt like I needed to get away, but it doesn't solve all your problems. Like you say, being in Bali, you had the pink scooter, you had the amazing villa, you had the life of your dreams. But when you've got that stuff, when you've got the icky stuff, when there's things that
Mm.
you haven't done the inner work, it's so hard for you to be truly happy. So what advice would you give to someone who wants to find that true happiness in 2025?
I definitely think, again, tuning into what feels right for you, but also challenging things.
Yeah.
Like, I definitely don't feel like I challenged myself enough up until like 2024,
Hmm.
where I can't really explain this in the best way that is like saying in inside my head, but it's kind of like, we like, I really believe in moving from like what feels right for us and like going with that flow, but there are also times when we need to like sit with that discomfort
Yeah.
and challenge it, and like get to the root of like why it's there. Or these thoughts kept coming up in my head, and like things like, I don't know what my passion is, I have no purpose, I don't know what like I want my life to look like. And I could have just left them there, but I really challenged them and like discovered, okay, why are they there? What are these things trying to tell me? And I think when discovering your purpose or discovering your passion, try new things. Like, it's the best thing that you
Yeah.
will do, because we're never going to know what we want to do unless we try it. And I feel like I did that by going into the course that I did, because it opened up this whole new world. But again, that was a massive challenge for me that I needed to work through, to be able to
Hmm.
sit with myself and say, okay, something isn't right here. I'm going to challenge it. I'm going to try this new thing. And it's just opened up this whole new world. So I do feel like you have to be ready to challenge things, face things head on, and also just try new things, like explore, talk to new people, push
Yeah.
yourself outside of your comfort zone, like all of these things that are really scary. Like, there's so much fear that comes with that. Like, even when I transitioned my business and stepped away from website design, where websites for me, it's a nice, like, stable income. There's always going to be someone who needs their site done, or there is always going to be work there. And I had so much fear because I was stepping into this whole new world of mindset coaching, where it's not really a done thing. And there was fear around, can I make money from this? Is this going to work? Where do I find clients? Like, all of these scary things. But I had to go for it. Like, I owed myself that, to give it a go and try it. And I kind of sat with myself one day and I said, like, if none of this works out, if I don't become a coach and I don't transition my business and I don't get clients and I don't get and I don't get income from that, at least I tried. And at
Yeah.
least I gave myself that shot. And I think that's something we don't do enough. Like, we can fall into societal expectations and fall into these patterns of, life and the way we should be doing things. But I just think, like, the biggest thing for me was just knowing that I deserved to give myself that chance. And, like, and anyone who's listening to this right now, you deserve to give yourself that shot as well. And I always think about my, like, future self, and I mean future, like 80-year-old me, like, when
Love
she is,
that.
like, lying in her chair, like, with her coffee, and she's old and grey and has wrinkles, and, like, her life is, coming to the end. Like, what does that version of me want to be remembered for? When
Hmm.
I'm 80 years old, what do I want to look back on my life and think, I'm glad I did that, or I'm glad I tried that? And we owe it to ourselves to do that, you know?
Yes. Oh my gosh. I love that answer so much. And it is funny thinking about us in our 80s, isn't it? And like, what do I want to look back and have achieved? And I think
Mm,
we sometimes think like, because everything is so quick these days and everything's so in the now, and like the everything is feels like we need it to have everything now, when it's actually like, go to that 80-year-old you and what
exactly.
do you want to look back at? And when you were speaking, it was really like something that come up for me. It's like, I think sometimes when you're this far into the journey, it's easy for us to make things look easy. Like, oh, it was easy for me to just book I put a massive deposit down on this retreat that I'm doing next year, and it was like scary. But I think the thing is, the more you're doing these scary things, the more you're doing the things each week, each day that you feel a little
Mm,
bit scared of. Like, when the big things come, the big decisions, like doing a mindset coaching course, like, booking this retreat that I've talked about, it's almost like, I know that I can do this. I know that I
hmm.
can do things that scare me, and I come out on top because of it. I come out on top, or I learn. So it's like asking yourself, like,
Yes.
one, what are the small things that I feel like I could do that get out my comfort zone and scare me? And two, what could that lead to? Like, you just never know, do you?
Mm. That's it. And I feel like there's so much beauty in that. Like, yes, push
Yeah,
yourself outside of your comfort zone, but enjoying what comes from that. Like, look at the feelings that you get when you do something that scares you. What
yeah.
emotions come with that? What new, thoughts come with that? What new downloads come with that? And I think that's where the magic is. And I think as well, what you said there about, booking the retreat and, like, doing all these things that scare you, the reason that might feel a little bit easier for us now is because we're constantly building proof.
Yeah.
So we'll say, if we're people who might say, okay, I am a person who can't commit to things, or I'm a person who stays in my comfort zone, we need to build proof
Hmm.
against that if we need to embody the person who, doesn't have that. So it's like, if we are getting outside of our comfort zone, yes, it's going to be scary, yes, there's going to be fear there. But what I always think is, like, there is so much to be said for taking that action and taking that first step and just allowing whatever else is meant to come to unfold in the way that it's meant to.
Yeah.
And I just think as well, like constantly building that proof, like even one thing, it doesn't need to be anything really big and scary. It can be, going for coffee with someone from your gym. It can be meeting up with someone for the first time, making a new friend, going to a different coffee shop, like starting a little project. Like it doesn't need to be anything really big, but what you're doing there is you're constantly building proof towards a stack of new belief systems that actually serve you and empower you instead of holding you back.
Yes, honestly, I was literally thinking like I would just. I feel like me and you could just have a podcast ourselves and just be
Can
doing
we do
like
that?
mindset madness because I just think it's like yeah.
I love that. I feel empowered. I
Honestly,
love this so much.
I feel so empowered. I feel like I wanted to talk about like what beliefs that you want to bring into 2025 and what
Mm.
beliefs maybe you want to build. And it's just an interesting question because I'm like, oh, what do I want to build?
Yeah, I definitely like that question.
Mm,
Something that came up there for me was I am someone who can do things my own way,
yeah.
because I feel like I've even learned this from you and the way that you run your business and the way that you work, is that yes, there can be a lot of strategies and frameworks and systems behind ways to do things, but I want to be able to run my business next year the way that I want to.
Hmm.
And our business, like we set up these businesses for us and they are ours. So we are allowed to morph them and shape them and make them however we want them to look like and feel like. So it's definitely a belief that I want to work towards next year. Something else that just popped into my head.
What?
I want to be someone who has fun next year.
Yeah.
I feel like 2024 for me was definitely, and you know what? This is a hard one for me because I do believe we have seasons and we have
Yeah.
chapters in life, and this, like 2024 for me, was all about business, transitioning things, getting clients, getting my name, you know, to as many people as I could, just figuring out my style, how I wanted to work, and it was very business focused, and that was 2024 season.
Yeah.
I am allowed to have a whole new chapter coming into 2025,
Yeah.
and that's exciting. And I just really want to be able to have more fun, meet new people, have more experiences. I do think a limiting belief that I have now that I'm thinking about it is
Hmm.
because I use Bali and Thailand and Malaysia and all these places as a escapism. I kind of want to rewrite that,
Yeah.
and I want to be able to travel a little bit more in 2025, and travel because it excites me and it
Yeah.
empowers me and it's an experience rather than running and escaping. So it's definitely one that I want to rewrite next year, or this year, is that I am allowed to travel and have new experiences and have fun, and it doesn't mean that I'm running away from things, if that makes sense.
Oh my gosh, yes. And I was like intentional travel, like really having the
Yes.
best time. And it is hard when you've gone to all these places and you have that them sort of memories. But I see it like you're gonna go rewrite your memories there and like have the best time and have new experiences and like I'm so excited and I really loved what you said around like just having fun and that was so inspiring for me to hear as well because it's so easy to you know I think not that it's harder but at this point in business I think you're always thinking of new things and always there
Mm,
can always be that voice is like okay is this the right way of doing things and even recently I'm like should I be doing more trends or should I be like
mm.
searching social media a little bit more or should I just keep doing what I'm doing? I'm a big believer in always like learning and growing, but at the same time, like you've just reminded me for myself of like you are just doing what feels right for you and you
Mm.
don't always have to show up like 100% of the time. You're allowed time off, you're allowed time to be present. And I think next year I feel similar to you. 2024 has been very like building work, like I have had a lot of fun to be fair. I've done said yes to everything. But next year
You inspire me to have fun so much. Like, you have fun and it inspires me so much. Like, when I started working with you and I heard all of your stories, I was like, I need to have more fun like Yaz.
I have so many stories. I feel like I need to do a podcast stories episode, but I feel like I will really like
You do.
make myself out here. But Lauren will get like Monday morning, she'll get like voice notes from me if I've been away, and I'll be like, I did this. I met this person. I did like just random things.
I love it so much. You make my whole day.
Honestly, and I feel like for me next year, like when I think of beliefs and different intentions I want to take into next year, it is to really carry on inspiring people to just be safe being themselves, and like
Yes.
me just being myself. I think I'm learning a lot around vulnerability as well. I think sometimes when we are in this space and we're sharing so much, it's like, what's the limit? Like, how much am I really sharing? And when can
Mm,
I keep like things to myself as well? So it's like taking the pressure off always having to like be present and always show up. And also, like, when I feel like I need to just have a bit of me time, just having that me time without any guilt, because it can be easy to just keep showing up, and almost become like a bit of a robot. So I think that's what you've taught me as well. Like, it is okay to just, so nice talking about what we taught each other, but just taught me to not feel guilty around taking time off, and
mm,
like really intentionally look at how I'm filling up my cup. And even today, like I wrote a little like dopamine list to Lauren of like, okay, what fills me up? It is walks, it is coffee dates, it is reading my book on my own, and like just having those boundaries and time with myself has been so special. I'm trying to think as well what advice I would give for anyone else in 2025 around beliefs. But I do feel like learning about the authenticity, like really spending the time learning about whatever version you want to be. Because like you
yeah.
said, we're going into a new chapter, babes. Like, you don't have to carry on these habits, these environments, these things that are holding you back or feeling icky. Like, what does it look like for you next year? What,
Mm.
sorry, in 2025, what would be the most exciting thing that could happen, or that you could do and experience or say yes to?
Mm. Do you know what? This is a really nice chat to have, and I hope people listening can find this as well. But for me, it's making me excited about what's to come, because I
Yeah.
do think like the new year can come with a lot of structure and a lot of noise and a lot of, kind of pressure. I think that's definitely what comes with, this time of year for me, is a lot of pressure to figure stuff out and get it right and become this person now. And I think even there could be two types of people listening to this. I know for me and the clients that I have right now, I'm seeing two sides of things, where some people, like you just said there, want to just carry on the way that they are now.
Mm.
And, they don't feel like there's an awful lot they want to change. Yes, there are intentions and goals there, but they just want to continue showing up as they are now. And then the other side of it is, there, of course, will be people who want to change their life this year and
Mhm.
want to shift their mindset and want to step into these new versions of who they are. And that is okay too. Like, you do not have to recreate your whole life, but you also can if you want to. Like,
Yeah.
I think that's what I find on social media, is it is very, what's the word I'm trying to look for? It's very like same, and it's like
Yeah.
everyone needs to be fit in this one box. And I'm like, no, like, if you want to continue doing whatever you're doing and keep showing up the way you are, keep doing that. Amazing, that is great. If you want to
Yeah.
recreate your whole life and, move to Bali or set up the business or fall in love and do all these big crazy things, you are allowed to do that too. And this year will look and feel like however you want it to. But I do think the what I want to bring in here as well is, there needs to be some sort of action with that. So if
Mhm.
you are someone who wants to shift your mindset and recreate your whole life and, really step into a new version of you, there needs to be some action with that as well. So kind of ask yourself, okay, who do I need to become and what do I need to do in order to become that version of who I want to be? And even things like, what can I do this month? Like, don't even look at the next 12 months. Look at, what do I need this month that's going to push the needle forward into my next goal? or just making things easier for yourself, that it doesn't have to be this big massive transition in 4 weeks. It can be slow, and I think there's so much beauty in that. I feel
Mhm.
like for me over the past 4 years, I didn't wake up one day and I was like, I'm her, this is me now.
No.
It's a very gradual process, but I think there's so much beauty to be found in that. A quote I love is, I actually always get this wrong. Sorry,
You're so
yeah, this
lucky.
is it. A quote I love is, becoming is better than being.
Yeah.
And I love it so much because that magic that we want is found in the process of becoming. And we're constantly learning, we're constantly shedding layers, constantly stepping into new versions of who we are. And that's where the magic is. It's not in being that person, it's in becoming that person.
Honestly, yes. And that's so special, isn't it? Because in a world that is so like fast and chasing and wanting these
Mm,
goals and then getting the goals and then wanting the new goals, it's like, what about this journey? Like viewing 2025 as a massive, beautiful journey, and you get
yeah.
to now sort of create it and learn and experience. And I wanted to say, because you went in depth of like, do you want to change a lot this year? Do you want to carry on? Like noticing what what your body pulled you to when Lauren was speaking there,
Mm,
like, reversing it, reverse if you need to, like going back and listening to where Lauren was talking about like where you want to be, do you want to change loads, and like what was your body saying, like where did you can get like parts of your body, like I always get tingling in my hands when something's aligning or like I'm being called to do something. So just like noticing what part of the spectrum you felt called to. I think sometimes we can overcomplicate it and think, oh my gosh, like whoa, like listening to your body, and it's a journey
mm,
and something that's really hard when like this society is like dysregulating our nervous system with always wanting more. And like even me, I know that my phone addiction, like as much as I try, like it's just so consuming, like there's so many things that are just
it's
like
a lot.
pulling us, isn't it? And it's like just being aware that the more time we do like say no and set those boundaries, we are coming back to like our true what feels right and purpose and all of the good stuff.
Mm, boundaries are definitely a big one that I want to bring into next year as well. More
Yes.
so, I feel like I've nailed the boundaries in my personal life,
Yeah.
but my business, I definitely want to have a little bit more boundaries. And I think we mentioned this as well before, that boundaries don't have to be like this red light and this stop sign and this
Yeah.
big no. Boundaries, like saying no to others, it means you're saying yes to yourself. And I think we need to reframe what boundaries actually mean, because they are so empowering for you and the other person who is involved in that. And I think for us to be able to show up as, the best mindset coaches as we can be for our for our clients, we need to have those boundaries with things like our phone, with things
Mhm.
that fill up our cup, with things like switching off when clients are texting you at night 9 p.m. And I think you're quite like me in the sense of, we want to be there all of
Yeah.
that time, and we want to be the person who is always at that end of the phone and constantly showing up. But we need to be able to fill up our cup and do things that are right for us as well, so that we can then show up as our best selves for the people that we work with. And I think going into this year, I definitely want to continue looking after me so that I can also continue looking after my clients.
Yeah, and I think I've really shifted my perspective this year because I can really relate with boundaries. And I've really, even recently, I've shifted my perspective to like, if I don't show up for myself best, then everyone is going to suffer. Like, I need to
Yeah.
make me the number one priority and take it really seriously. Like, take it as seriously as, being on a call with my client or sending them a voice note or a text. Like, I need to have those check ins with me and look at what I need to do. And something like I really like, and I've got it in my calendar tonight, is doing a Yaz hour. And I'm so excited for my Yaz hour tonight. And I was thinking
I
today,
love
like,
that.
what am I going to do in my hour tonight? And there's this self concept challenge I've really been wanting to do. So I'm going to open that and start it, because it's so easy for us to just push like what we want to the bottom of the
Mm,
barrel, or when we don't schedule in that time, then it just does get pushed, things get busy, life happens. So like actually scheduling in like an hour a week to yourself. And I know everyone can do this. Everyone has 1 hour in their week where they're scrolling on TikTok, they're watching Netflix, they're doing something that they could schedule in a pretty pink, that I have it in my calendar in pink, my Yaz hour, and it makes me so happy. And I just love it, and I can't wait to have, if I do this every year in 2025, every week, I'm going to have 52 hours for me in 2025. And I think,
I love that.
how lovely, how special that I've dedicated 52 hours to myself.
Oh, I love that so much. And you know what? You deserve that. And anyone listening to this, you deserve that time. Like, what I hear a
Yeah.
lot is, I feel really guilty for taking this time off, or I feel like I should be with my kids, or I feel like I should be spending time with my partner. And I get it. Like, the guilt is a very normal thing. I
Hmm.
get it too, where I feel guilt sometimes if a client texts me on a Sunday and I don't text back till Monday. I feel
Hmm.
really guilty, but it's like, you deserve that time, you know? I think like we spend our whole lives with ourselves, and we need to be able to prioritize us, and you're allowed to do that. And I know
Yeah.
life gets really busy, and we have, things that we need to do, and work and kids and parents and all of these big things, but like, focus on what works best for you. Like, I know for me, because I only do my calls on a Tuesday and Thursday, I know that my Monday, Wednesday and Friday are there's a little more freedom in there, and there's a bit more time to do things that fill up my cup. But that's not going to be the same for each person.
Hmm.
So look at your week, look at the things you need to do, pop in your calls, pop in your admin, like pop in all of your different blocks, and then look at, okay, where is my time, where can I fit in my time? And for some people it might be an hour, for some people it might be two. Do you know, like, just feel like, look at what feels right for you and go with that. And you deserve it. Like, you absolutely deserve to take that time for you. And think of it in the way, like, if the guilt does come up, and I do this sometimes, where if I feel guilty for prioritizing myself, I think of how many people are going to be how many people are going to be of like benefit from that,
Yeah.
by me prioritizing myself. So I know that I'm going to be a much better girlfriend, I'm going to have more patience, I'm going to be a better daughter, I'm going to have more time to look after the house or cook some food, and I'm going to be a better sister, and I'm going to be a much better coach. So that's what comes
Yeah.
from me prioritizing myself. So if you are someone who struggles with the guilt around setting those boundaries or prioritizing you, think of the amount of people that are going to be so glad that you did that.
Yes, I love this. And it's like, as a business owner, sometimes we can be a bit absorbed by the business, but it's like, well, how else is that going to help me show up? Like, to your
Yeah.
boyfriend, to your sister, to your family, like, just makes everything so much more refreshing and nice. And honestly, I just love it. I feel like we could, like we said, we could just talk for hours to say, like,
I know.
I would love to know 3 intentions you have for 2025.
Three intentions for 2025. I love setting intentions. I've kind of moved away from setting goals. I do
Yeah.
have mini goals in my head, but I feel like goals for me are very tangible outcomes, and the intentions are more how I want to feel.
Yes.
Um, an intention for 2025. I think in terms of business, I'm going to combine personal and business. In terms of business, I want to continue creating as much of an impact as I can. Whether that's through conversations or coaching calls or the membership or my meetups, however that looks like, I just want to continue creating the impact that I've always wanted to create. A personal life, I want to have fun. I
Yeah.
want to have so much fun. I really do. I go to Bali for 3 weeks with my mom and my brother in March, and I just want to be able to fully switch off and enjoy my time and show them the beautiful island that Bali is, and rewrite the story that I had there. And yeah, just have the best time with them on that trip. And I think as well, an intention coming into 2025 is just to continue being me
Yeah.
and not fall into patterns. I definitely feel like for me, since moving home, it's very easy to fall into the same routines or the same habits or the same patterns that you may have had before.
Mhm.
And I've really had to challenge that this year. And I think as well, like, because, and I know UK and Ireland are similar in the sense that there's such a like drinking culture, and it's like the
Hmm.
best thing to do on a Friday night and da da da. And I've really had to challenge that this year, that I don't have to fall into the past behaviors that I may have had. I am allowed to live life on my own terms, even though I'm living back in that same place.
Hmm.
So yeah, just to continue being me and continue doing the things that I love to do, and just keep showing up as my authentic true self, because I think there's so much to be said for that. And I just think, sorry, I feel like I'm going off on a tangent. I
No,
just think
it's so
when we
nice.
when we show up as our authentic true selves, we just are able to tune in that bit more, and we're going to be able to know what's right and what's not. And I feel like when I am showing up in a place of in authenticity, like, I struggle then to make the choices. I struggle to know what's right and what's wrong. I struggle to make my next move. Whereas when we're showing up from that place of, true contentment and, true purpose, that's when things feel not easier, but they're just more aligned, and you know the path that you're on, and you know where you're going, and things are just a bit more clear. So yeah,
Mm.
just to continue being my authentic true self.
Yeah.
That's my a million
Mhm.
intentions for 2025.
No, but I'm so happy we did I did that, because I think you're saying what a lot of people would love to like say, and sometimes it can be really
Oh,
hard to like think about being our authentic self, or even feel safe to say these sorts of things. Like,
mm,
you are what you attract, and from us, throwing ourselves into loads of situations where the words authenticity and intuition and like downloads become our norm, it makes us safe to feel like that we can do that. Whereas I know
yeah,
me a few years ago, I wouldn't have known what intuition was, or wouldn't have
that's so
known
true.
about authenticity.
Yeah,
So
oh my God.
yeah, you're like helping people feel safe to open up about these things and use this sort of wording, and like, bring it into their sort of vocabularies for 2025.
I love that so much. And you know what? Allow yourself to be curious. If you're
Yeah,
someone listening to this and maybe doesn't really understand a word or like something that we may have touched on, be
yeah,
curious. Like, allow yourself to explore that. I always kind of get people to wear these fake, like, compassionate, curious glasses. So
yes,
sometimes if I'm like wondering about something and if I'm interested, I'll put on like my curious glasses and I'll be like, oh, okay, let's explore this. Allow yourself to like have fun with that too, and enjoy it. And if you are someone who wants to learn a little bit more about all of this stuff, myself and Yaz, we will chat for Ireland, like, and the UK,
yeah,
but our DMs are always there. So if you do want to have a little chat, or just open up a conversation that you may not have felt safe to do so in the past, both of us are always here to help you explore that, because I didn't really have that when I was getting
hmm,
into this space and I was figuring out stuff. I didn't really have that safe space to explore these things, and then you feel like there's something different about you, or you feel like it's not the normal thing to talk about. But these are good conversations, and we need to be able to bring more of this in.
yes.
And it just makes me so excited.
Yeah, honestly, I feel like a lot of people are suffering in silence right now. And like every time I'm having a chat and someone's opening up a little bit more, it's making me more sad around
Mm,
how much everyone is going through. And, when you do have these tools that we have and help other people with, we're like, oh my gosh, I can help so many people. It's
I
coming.
know. Come on, let's all
Come to
be
us.
together.
But yes, I will share my intentions as well, because it puts me on the spot to think about them, and then it's great when I
Please do.
listen when I listen back to these episodes. Okay, so three intentions for 2025. I feel like the first one is to focus on being honest with myself this
Mm,
year. So I feel like from such a long career in sales, and like just sort of my pattern of life, I'm really good at being the show girl, really good at being positive and out there. But there's a deeper side to me as well that I think really wants to unravel next year. And like, I
okay.
feel like being in Thailand and Bali and those beautiful places really allows me to be in my stillness and like spend that time on my own. So yeah, number one is that time on my own, being present, honest, open, yeah, really in myself. Number
Mm.
two is to not put limitations on myself. Like, I am someone that
Oh.
does have big dreams and big goals, and sometimes it could feel a little scary or feel a little like, there's some big goals, girl. But to know that absolutely I can do anything I put my mind to. And 2024 I did some crazy things, like running an ultra marathon was absolutely ridiculous because I've never even done a race or a half marathon or a 10K race. And then I went and did 50 round some mountains in a little sports bra when it was chucking it down, and then had to end the race wearing a bin bag because the nurses just were like, you cannot run like that anymore. I felt like I was the naughty schoolgirl. It was like, but I'm really good at doing crazy things. So next year, carrying on that energy of like, whatever anyone tells you, I know that I'm so capable of doing these big, bold, crazy things.
Yes.
So to carry on that energy. And number three is a fun one, actually, a funny one, actually. It's actually loyalty. Like, generally,
Mm.
this year, I found like the people that I know are going to be in my life, and that comes like for you as my mindset coach. It comes to my amazing podcast manager, like the clients in my life, the people I've met in this industry, the friendships I've made. The reason I was so scared at the start of 2024 because I hadn't had any of that yet. I was like thrown back
Mm.
into the deep end back home, was so uncomfortable, so unsettled, when what I needed to do was feel through that and trust that there was better things coming, and they did come when I decided to stay. And I was like, no, I'm not going, I'm gonna stay. And that's when I attracted in all of the friendships, the amazing people, and I've been on such a journey with that. So 2025 is that loyalty, like showing up for these amazing people in my life, not always wanting that more, and actually just really, the grass is greener where you water it. So
Mm.
really just staying true to these connections, and like just appreciating them and just enjoying what I've built, because I felt like my whole life was very like, no, I can't do this because I'm going traveling, or no, I can't have a boyfriend because I'm leaving, or like, no, pushing everyone away, letting people in, but
Yeah.
just to a certain extent. So next year is just fully being open, honest, letting people in, being my crazy self, having a blast.
Oh, I love that so much. I'm so excited. What a
Yay!
year we're gonna have.
I'm so excited. Everyone, harness this energy. Come on board with us. Drop us a DM what you're going to be doing in 2025. You can even put us in a little group chat on Instagram.
Please do that. I would love that. And
We
you know
love
what?
it.
This is so important. Like we need
Yeah.
people to inspire us and empower us and support us, and it's like us, like we know the importance of having someone in your corner, someone who's going to back you, someone who's going to cheer you on. Like it's so important. And I think as well, for me, we don't have to compete. Like we can all do it together, and we are all one, and there's no one better, there's none of that in this
No,
space. Like I know the space does have that side sometimes, but not here.
no, not in our
Not
world.
in this. No.
Absolutely not.
I'm so excited. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. It would be amazing if you can tell everyone where they can find you. It will be in the show notes, and also anything else exciting you want to talk about before we go.
Amazing, amazing. So my business name is The Coaching Collective. So I'm over on Instagram. Don't have my website up and running yet. As an ex website
As
developer,
the
as an
website.
ex website designer, that is not good. Website will be up and running in 2025, I promise. But coming up in 2025, I'm definitely going to do a bit more in person events. I am living in Cork in Ireland, but maybe we'll expand a little bit. Who knows? I'm
Ooh.
not sure.
Well, I've got a lot of Irish listeners and a lot of Irish. Half my life's Irish. I
Oh,
love it.
I love
You
it.
never
Yeah,
know.
it's great. So I am going to be doing a bit more in-person events and retreats coming into 2025. I have my mindset membership as well, which is just a really nice community of like-minded people. And yeah, I just love having the chats. Like I
Yeah,
have voice notes in my DMs on the daily, and it's my favorite part of my day is just responding to people, having the chats and just connecting. I just think it's a huge part to business and life. I just feel like we need that human connection, and it's so nice to be a part of that rather than resisting against it.
Yeah.
But Yaz, thank you so much for having me on. I would stay here all day. It's
Me
been
too.
so good.
Honestly.
Thank you.
Thank you as well. Thank you so much for coming on. Thank you everyone for listening. Lauren has a special place in my heart. We love her, and definitely give her a follow because she's just so special to see all her authentic content in 2025. But yes, thank you so much, Angel, and we'll catch you on the next episode. Welcome back to the Your Go Yaz podcast, the podcast to listen to if you're a female entrepreneur who's ready to attract more fun, more money, success, friendships, and amazing clients into your business. Thank you so much for being here, and I hope I can add some more positivity into your day in this episode.